Hello everybody, hey, it's Kris here, and I'm here with a much more different video in terms of like scriptedness here today, and I want to talk to you all about my personal opinions on a tier list of a game. This is an asymmetrical horror game called Face Your Fear. It's, it's a pretty popular game, it's going around, it's come out recently, it's a pretty popular game, and so I wanted to do just an unscripted tier list of both the participants and the faces. My apologies. Still kind of new to it. But yeah, I want to go through a tier list of, S tier to F tier, who's the best and worst, going from worst to best for both sides, participants and faces. Going to start out with the participants here first, as we get into our first participant on the list. Alright, the first participant on the list is Kris. Kris is F tier. This is the only participant that I have placed in F tier, in my opinion. Kris is easily the worst participant in the game, and it's just for the simple fact that they are often more of a detriment, it feels like, 9 times out of 10, compared to they are useful. Like, their situation is so niche, and they're the only participant in this entire list to where their existence can actually nerf one of the better participants that we'll talk about later in the list. So Kris's main ability is that they can walk up to an undropped pallet and they can weave a little web. And the pallet can't be dropped, but if a face walks through it, the face is slowed by 5% for 10 seconds. That is literally it. That is the only thing Kris has going for them. They can do it on 2 pallets and the cooldown is 45 seconds per. That is literally it. It's just like, it's like, okay, yeah, I guess the best niche scenario for Kris would be, okay, like, yeah, you can just chain it together, like, in, like, main building or something around Killer Shack. Like, yeah, you can just keep chaining them. But, like, once the pallet's gone, it's like, there is little to no scenario where slowing the killer down, slowing the face down by 5% for 10 seconds is better than dropping the pallet and stunning them and getting away. Because a pallet stun is the difference between getting hit and potentially getting downed and, prolonging the chase or actually winning the chase. That's, like, the main difference. So there is, like, little to no actual usage for the web trap. I mean, it's, like, it's there, but again, it's like, I mean, I'm glad it just doesn't hinder participants. Participants run through it, but you can't drop a pallet while it's there. If the pallet is dropped already or it's broken, no use for it. The only time Kris can ever so slightly be useful is if they bring the generic skill, Architect. If they bring Architect, then you know what? Kris can actually get a little bit of usage, but they still have to go around and wait for pallets to be broken to then spend time rebuilding it so they can set up their web again. Which again asks the question, why not just drop the pallet instead? And that time you're spent building up the pallet just to put the web up, that's time that could be spent healing someone else or on a generator. And the worst part of all of this is, out of all the participants in the game, Kris is the only one who actually makes it harder for another participant. They actually harm their team, which is the character Nyte, as we will talk about later. One of Nyte's skills involves pallet stunning the killer. They can't pallet stun the killer if Kris's spider webs is in the way. It literally just, it makes it just, Kris is just a bad killer, or a bad survivor participant. Fuck. Kris is a bad participant all around. Their only saving grace that they have is that they're, like, the starter face. They have, like, their face in the logo of the game. They're, like, the default one that you have selected first. They're, like, the Dwight of, like, Face Your Fear, basically. They're the Dwight of Dead by Daylight for Face Your Fear. But, yeah, no, Kris has little to no utility, and their niche use is, like, 9 times out of 10 would be better if you just pallet stunned. Moving on to D tier, the only participant we have in D tier is Simon. Simon is the only character in D tier. He is better than Kris, but he's still pretty bad. The only reason why what saves him from not being an F tier is the fact that he doesn't harm anyone on his team. In fact, Kris was originally going to be D tier until I sat there and went over the list and realized when I read Nyte's ability again, I was like, oh my god, wait. So it just screws over Nyte. Like, so yeah. But Simon's main ability is he's a part of the Lone Wolf archetype. Not, well, there's Lone Wolf, but then the main archetype with this one is Sacrificial. So Sacrificial characters are pretty iffy. They're pretty not great. But Simon is easily the worst Sacrificial character out of the two. The other one's only in C tier, so not that great. But Simon is the worst, because his whole thing, his ability, the Butcher, it makes it so whenever he's injured, okay, doesn't leave a blood trail, doesn't make grunts of pain, and he has a 5% generator repair speed bonus. Okay, that sounds pretty good. I mean, gives him some extra stealth, you know, helps him repair the speed. His downside is the fact that by default, when not injured, he has a 5% repair penalty. So he repairs generators 5% slower when not injured. And also, he takes 30 seconds to heal compared to the base 25 seconds. So it's like, it's just messed up. So it's like, his entire thing is to go into a chase, get hit, run off with his stealth, and then work on generators and not get found, and that's like how you're supposed to play him. The issue is there is nothing stopping a face from hitting Simon, realizing, oh shit, he has a 5% repair speed bonus now, and just chasing him until you down him, and then hooking him. And then when he gets off hook, if you see he's still injured, chase him again. Simon his entire thing is just asking to be tunneled. He doesn't get any use out of his skill because in a smart killer, if they see he's injured, it's just gonna go for the down. Like, if you see Simon healthy, honestly, better to leave him healthy because he's a 5% repair penalty. Whereas, if you leave him injured, you're just hurting yourself. So it's either don't touch Simon at all or tunnel him. Simon is, like, it's one or the other. Either Simon's going to do nothing and is going to be subpar, if not just bad for his team, or he's going to be injured and tunneled out and his team's just going to spend all their resources trying to save his ass. The only benefit Simon has is if you're going against a new person who doesn't know what Simon's ability is, so they hit Simon and go for someone else, and then Simon can just, like, gen rush with everyone else. That is the only benefit Simon has. Like, at all. And God forbid, and I don't want to bring the generic skills into all of this because that's a whole other can of worms, but my God, if Simon doesn't know any better and he puts on the medic skill, which makes it so he heals 25% faster, but it takes 25% longer to heal you, my God, you're never going to heal him. He's never going to be healed. Like, 30 seconds, that's already 5 seconds longer than normal. 25% of that, oh my God, that... Like, you're gonna take, like, over, like, half a minute to heal this man. For what? For him to be bad? Like, and even then, if he does manage to escape against a good killer, he's healing, or he's working on a generator. He's working on a generator, has 5% bonus. The killer goes over to that generator, they see him, he's one tap to dead. Like, that is the issue with Simon, is he's always gonna be one tap to being hooked, which is a bad position. If he can skedaddle and scurry away and whatever, that's fine. But if he can't, or if you're just going up against a killer who tunnels, whatever, Simon is just useless, if not straight up a detriment to his team. So... yeah, the only reason he is not an F is because the detriment to his team thing is only really a detriment to him. And again, he doesn't, it doesn't, his detriment is negatable by just having other people work on the gen, whereas Kris's detriment straight up removes an important skill from another character's perk set. Like, that's the issue we're talking about here. On to C tier, the first tier that has more than one character in it. The worst character in C tier, we're starting out with, is Taffy. Now, I'm going to do a little Dead by Daylight comparison here. Okay. Imagine this. Imagine if you had Decisive Strike and Deliverance, but when you used Deliverance, you didn't get broken. And you could use both of those twice around. You may be thinking in your head right now that that sounds like the most broken, unfun thing to go against. welcome to Taffy. Taffy's entire thing is that when she gets picked up, she can use her ability at any time. Not even like a little skill check like Decisive Strike and DBD. No. You pick her up, and she can just instantly hit it, get out, and then scurry on away. And then when she's on hook, she can just unhook herself for free. You may be saying, why is she in C tier then? Simple. So when she's being carried, for every 10% of her struggle bar, so like when like the little minigame that she plays while being carried to the hook, when she's on her little struggle bar, for every 10% she gets, that is a plus 1% speed boost for like 10 seconds after she gets out, or she uses like her ability to get out. So that means that if she is like 90% way full and the hook is right there and she uses the ability before she gets hooked, she is 9% faster for 10 seconds, which is great. Like, that's a great little speed boost. The issue is if she times it wrong, then she just straight up gets hooked. If she completes the bar all the way, she just gets out normally and doesn't get the speed boost. And if she gets downed right next to a hook, she doesn't have any time to do it, so she's basically going to have to use her ability and get out early when it's like that's... You see the issue with that? And also the issue is she doesn't unlock this ability until she's already been hooked once. So, for example, and it stacks. So, for like example, you down her, you get her on first hook. Okay, she gets 1 token of like the breakout ability. And then she gets off hook, you down her again, hook her. She has 2 and she hasn't used either. Well, that means when you try and hook her the 3rd time, she can escape twice before, you know. And it's like, yeah, that sounds broken. The issue is that only benefits Taffy. And again, if she uses it too late, then she just straight up gets hooked and she doesn't use it. If she uses it too early, then she doesn't get the speed boost. She can unhook herself, which is really her only solid. But other than that, she provides nothing else to the team. She literally provides nothing else. She has nothing in chase to help her. She has nothing to stun or stop the killer. She has nothing to help her teammates. She has nothing to fix generators. She has literally nothing. Her only reward is she gets rewarded. She gets get out of jail free cards when she plays bad. But if you play Taffy and you play good, you are basically playing a participant with 0 skills. You are basically playing the bare minimum participant with no abilities. That is Taffy's problem. Is if you are an awful player, you will play Taffy and you will actually get use out of her. But if you don't, if you play her at all well, then you are just straight up taking up a spot on your team. There is no purpose. The only purpose Taffy can realistically have to fill her niche is when she's being carried, like stunning the killer, whatever, running away, you know, scurrying away, and extending the chase long enough for a gen or 2 to pop, and then next thing you know, it's gone. Also, I forgot to mention, just for reference, because I know I compare a lot to Dead by Daylight, Face Your Fear is 1v6, not 1v4. Just thought I should throw it out there. But yeah, Taffy, C tier. The only good thing, you can only be good as Taffy when you're doing bad. And that's why I think she's at the bottom of C tier. Next up is the best sacrificial character. I said there's only 2. Well, he's in the middle of C tier. It is Sir Chumming-ton. Sir Chumming-ton is the best sacrificial character. And that's not saying a lot because he's pretty damn bad. Much like the Dead by Daylight comparison. So Decisive Strike and Deliverance, that's the best way to sum up Taffy. Sir Chumming-ton is literally, his only skill is just shoulder the burden. Literally what that means is Sir Chumming-ton runs up to someone on hook, and he can use an ability to unhook the person, and when he does, he takes one of their hook states, and they, like, lose it. So, like, for example, Sir Chumming-ton hasn't been hooked a single time, 0 times. The person he's unhooking is been hooked twice, so, you know, they're on their 2nd hook. If they get hooked again, they're out. He can take one of their hooks, so now he has 1 hook, and the other participant he unhooked has 1 hook. That is the whole thing with Sir Chumming-ton. That's really it. The only other thing he has going for him is that, when he unhooks someone, they get, like, what is it, like a 5%, like a 3% speed boost, something like that. They get, like, a really small speed boost for only a few seconds. Let me see what it is again. Yeah, 5% speed boost for 3 seconds. That's literally it. So he unhooks someone, he takes their hook, and then they run away. And, like, that's it. And you may be thinking, well, what if it's a squad of only Sir Chumming-tons? The issue is Face Your Fear only allows 1 of each character. So that literally can't happen. So, and even then, it's not removing the hook strike from the game, it's just moving it to a different person. So at most, you're just evening it out for the killer. Like, that's all you're doing as Sir Chumming-ton. he's not bad to have because, again, if he hides the whole game and someone's getting tunneled, he can extend the game by using it, and he can use it twice to really help him out, but which means that he can theoretically give someone 5 hook stages if, you know, if he uses it twice only on them and he doesn't get caught, then he can give him 5 hook stages. And the 5% speed boost for 3 seconds, I mean, if the face is right there and the face is charging at you, then I guess it's useful. But other than that, why would you run away when your best move is to heal? Unless you do it on Simon. But even then, like, I don't, like, Simon is, like, why would you waste it on Simon compared to an actual person that you would want to keep in the game for longer? Like, the killer, like, the participants in A tier or S tier, like Ball or Undyne or Baron or Knights. Like, why would you want to, or hell, even, like, someone like 6. Like, why would you want to, the only, like, real benefit is people who, like, you know, yeah, I don't know. Sir Chumming-ton is just, he's not a bad pick, but he's not the greatest pick. There are so many better altruistic people to pick other than Sir Chumming-ton. And at the top of C tier, we have Arca. Now, on paper, just reading her ability, she should be like A tier. So you may be thinking to yourself, well, why isn't Arca A tier then? Well, it's how she's actually executed. See, here's how she works, right? Every time Arca unhooks someone, her ability gets 1 token, up to 5. When she starts healing someone, she uses all of her tokens, and each token converts to plus 5% healing speed bonus, meaning she goes from taking 25 seconds to heal someone at the normal rate to 18.75 at max tokens. That's a pretty good time save, and the effect lasts for 30 seconds, meaning you can get like 1.5, like 1 in like, you know, like 1.5 like heals in before the timer runs out. It's a pretty good bonus. The reason why she is C tier and is, in my opinion, the worst healer for the survivors is literally just because of the fact that when you unhook someone and you start healing them, it takes all of your tokens immediately. Meaning she has to go around and unhook 5 people before she can heal any of them. So basically, Arca's just unhooking people and then running away and waiting for someone else to get hooked. That is the only thing Arca is doing. And then, I mean, yeah, it means, like, in the heat of the game, in, like, a tense moment, if someone's getting tunneled and they're on death hook, you can then activate it if you have all tokens, but you don't have to use all tokens, like, max tokens. You can use it, we have only, like, 3 or 2 or whatever. But still, you use them when you start healing the person who's about to, like, die, and it's, like, it gives you a faster heal or whatever, or you know the face is on their way, so you gotta heal real quick. Like, I can see the benefit of it, I really can. But, like, man, it's just, like, the fact that it consumes all is the part that makes it bad. It's like, I don't know, to me, it's just like there are better healers to bring, even though on paper, Arca sounds really good, and if, like, you have other healers, like Baron, or, like if you have Baron on your team, then I guess I can see how Arca is good. Like, you know, have Arca be the designated, like, unhooker, and then, you know, go around heal everyone. But, I mean, man, even then, it's like, I'm just thinking of Simon in my head, because then I'm thinking, well, Simon takes 5 seconds longer. That's still only going to be, like, you know, 20-something seconds. That wastes up most of your time. And if Simon has the medic, like, generic skill, as we said, that's going to waste your entire time just healing him. Like, oh my god. I think I'm just digging a hole deeper for Simon than anything. But, no, Arca, she's okay. She's fine. In best case scenario, I can see how she can clutch up. But 9 times out of 10, unless you're playing with a coordinated team, if you're running solo queue or something, I just don't see Arca being that useful of a participant to bring on your lineup. I just don't see her being that useful. Next up, we have B tier. B tier is the average, because we have 5 participants in B tier the most. And I think B tier is a good place to be. I think B tier is a good place to be. Like, I feel like B tier is perfectly perfectly alright, perfectly fine. You can bring any of these. Like, you could have all 5, like, the top 5 best participants in the game and anyone in B tier, and I guarantee you the round would be going just as fine. Starting off with who I think is the worst in B tier, though, we have Backtrackzzz. Backtrackzzz, his whole thing is, much like Simon, he's a lone wolfer. He goes alone. He only benefits himself. And much like Simon, he also has a generator, repair, and, like, bonus and penalty. Although Backtrackzzz, I would say, is a lot better because he doesn't have to be injured to activate his. How Backtrackzzz, his ability works is that when he works on a generator by himself, he has a 10% generator repair speed bonus, which is insane. That's pretty good when, like, generators take, like, almost 2 minutes to repair. That's pretty good. But for every other person on the generator, he loses 5%, meaning if it's a 3-sided generator, then it's basically the same as if, like, you know, it was just anyone else repairing with, like, 3 people. Whereas if there's 4 people, then Backtrackzzz has a 5% repair bonus. So it's actually better for Backtrackzzz to, you know, run away and go away and heal or, you know, work on a generator by himself in a corner while everyone else does everything else. I think Backtrackzzz is really good in the early game, but, man, mid to late game, especially if you get in a 3-gen situation, Backtrackzzz is, like, actually pretty bad. Just because of his repair, like, penalty. Because if you have only 3 gens left, because if you have to pop 1 more gen to power the exit gates, and you have 3 gens in close proximity to each other, and the face is patrolling it, and you need Backtrackzzz to try and stealth fix it, along with someone else, then basically you're being screwed. The only time Backtrackzzz would be useful in that scenario is if everyone keeps trying to swarm one generator while Backtrackzzz works on a different one that the face has been, like, neglecting for, like, a few seconds. That is, like, the only time Backtrackzzz is even crazy powerful, and even then, barely so. Like, I mean, the 10% repair speed bonus in that situation does help, but it's such a fine line because then someone else may be running up to try and help you because, you know, you may be at like 80% done and the face is on their way. So run up and try and get a little extra progress and you're actually slowing it down. That is the issue with Backtrackzzz. Like, on paper, everything is fine with him. He's a pretty solid pick all around. But then the other issue is that if you are with a group repairing, yes, you have the repair penalty. But if you get chased and down, you know, you can have like Neoibiea or Lampy or V1 run up and, like, give you that, like, stun to help you escape. Meanwhile, if you're by yourself, you don't have easy access to, like, if you're on the other side of the map and everyone's on the other side and you go down, like, unless they're already on your way because you're, like, speaking through, like, comms or something, if, like, you're a solo queue Backtrackzzz, they can't reach you in time unless they're already in that vicinity. And I think that's the issue with Backtrackzzz, is that it's a fine line between he can be really good or he can be really bad. He just filters a lot. Most of the time, I would say he is a good, safe pick for gen rushing. But there are a very few... there are more scenarios than not where sometimes maybe having the slower generator repair speed is better than having, like, only one person work on it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Backtrackzzz is all around a pretty good character. I don't think anyone's going to be mad if you pick Backtrackzzz. It's just the fact that, you know, he may be a little bit... there may be some scenarios where he's not going to be the best pick. Moving on now, we have Neoibiea. Neoibiea could be, very easily, S tier, one of the best participants in the game. Like, there is no doubt that her moveset would allow her to 100% be best participant in the game. The issue with Neoibiea is her cooldowns, because holy shit. Neoibiea's whole thing is she has a stun where she can just stun the participant, or stun the face. She can just, you know, she charges up her axe shot, the party crasher. She charges up party crasher. She lets it go, and it's a giant, like, neon wall that glides across the map. It lasts for 5 seconds before despawning, and it goes through walls, vaults, pallets, everything. Like, it just goes through objects, and if it hits a face, it stuns them for 2.5 seconds. Okay, pretty good. If Neoibiea stuns the face while they are carrying a participant, then it removes 45 seconds from her cooldown. Holy shit, that's great. But wait, 45 seconds? Yeah, because her cooldown by default for Party Crasher is 100 seconds. That is 1 minute and 40 seconds. That is equivalent to almost one entire generator's worth of progress. That is how long we're talking. And she starts with it at 0 seconds charge when the round starts. So for the first almost 2 minutes of the game, Neoibiea is a sitting duck. She has her pants down and she can't do anything. She is a basic nothing survivor until she gets Party Crasher, in which case, holy shit, it wipes through the map. And even then, you have to wait for someone to go down and be carried, because if you just hit the face and stun them for the 2.5 seconds while they aren't carrying anyone, you still get the normal 100-second cooldown. So it's like, yeah, it's a strong ability, so having the long cooldown, I can see very much why it is a necessity. But to me, it's just like 9 times out of 10... Neoibiea's probably going to end up missing it because she charged at the wrong time or the wrong spot. Or she hits the face anyway, so they're not carrying anyone because she hit it early. And all she's doing is, A, revealing herself because, I mean, it's a giant neon-like wall gliding through the map. I'm pretty sure it's easy to tell which direction it came from. And also, 2... she just wasted her ability if she misses or if she hits the face while they're not carrying a participant. So, while the Neoibiea can very much come in clutch, I do think she has the worst stun. Just because that long of a cooldown for a 2.5 second stun is insane. Like, as we will see in S tier, someone who has a stun that is that stuns the killer for even longer has a shorter cooldown. Albeit it's harder to hit, but still, it's like, oh my god, we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, Neoibiea would be good, but Neoibiea is good. But man, it's just her cooldowns. Her cooldowns are rough. Like, if you fuck up as Neoibiea, you're fucked. Up next, we have 6. 6 is the newest addition to the Face Your Fear participant roster. 6 is pretty decent. I will say 6 is like, when it comes to information and tracking, 6 is literally I'm just gonna say information god, just because king and queen doesn't work because 6 is non-binary. But yeah, no, 6, they are the information god. They are the tracking god. If you have a 6 in your round, you will almost always know exactly where the killer is, like you have wall hacks on. Like, 6 is just really good at keeping, like, every part. Like, 6 is, like, the solo queue play. Like, if you are not, like, a 6-person squad, like, if you're a 6-person squad, there's no reason to bring 6. But if you, which, ironic, I know. But if you are a solo queue player, and no one else is 6, or if someone else is 6, then, like, yeah, it's going to help tremendously with getting information across. 6's main ability is the signal transmitter. They walk up to a generator, they put a signal transmitter on it. What that does is it highlights the generator for all participants, so they can all see where that generator is. And also, it also highlights any participants who are nearby that generator. So if you're over there unhooking, healing someone, and you see 2 people on the generator, over on the highlighted generator, you see their highlight, okay, great. If you see them get chased off, and then suddenly the face runs by, and you see the face's highlight, then you know the face is over there. That's because the signal transmitter also highlights the face. Now, the signal transmitter lasts on a generator for 90 seconds before it breaks, or once the generator is complete, then it automatically breaks. Also, 6 cannot put down a new signal transmitter before the old one is, like, they won't have one at a time. The downside with the signal transmitter is just the fact that every 5 seconds, it does a very loud echolocation ping that you will always hear no matter where you are on the map, and the closer you are to the generator, the louder it is, meaning that the face can hear it too, meaning that you are essentially putting a ticking time bomb on when the face will hear that noise and run over to the generator, but literally everyone will also see that the face is there. So basically, 6 just completely fucks over stealth killers. Like, 6 literally hard counter stealth killers, which, as you will see, stealth killers don't really need that much of a hard counter, but 6 hard counters them anyway. Stealth killers are already pretty not good. once 6 came out, ooh boy, yeah, stealth killers are having it rough this patch. Stealth killers are having a rough time. But 6's other passive ability, which is also really good, and if honestly, in my opinion, carries them higher than, you know, like realistically speaking, if they just only have the signal transmitter, I'd put them in C tier just because, like, the beat echolocation thing's kind of annoying, and also the fact that, you know, it alerts, you know, killers to where you are, which isn't great. But their passive ability, no, they don't just get one ability, no, they come with a passive. Their passive ability is the fact that whenever they get into chase for a kill, whenever, like, the game initiates, like, says, oh, you're in a chase now, and they're chasing 6, the killer is highlighted to all participants for 10 seconds. And that means if 6 breaks the line, gets hit, breaks the line of sight, and eventually the killer catches up to them like 20 seconds later, guess what? Guess what? The game counts as a new chase beginning? That's another 10 seconds that you were exposed. The killer, if they chase 6, will almost always be exposed. If they go to the signal transmitter, they will almost always be exposed. If, like, 6, literally, their entire plan is to just get the killer's attention, because even if they go down, everyone else on the team will know exactly where the killer is at all times. Basically, that is 6's whole MO, and it makes solo queue so much more bearable, but again, stealth killers are a little bit fucked. So, there's that. Next up in B tier, we have Lampy. Lampy is basically everything Neoibiea wishes she could be. Because Lampy, her main skill, hyperactivity, it comes with, like, 2 abilities, which, like, oh, okay. But Lampy's pretty decent. I'd say Lampy is one of the best, not the best distractor, but she is a pretty good distractor character, considering the fact that she's, well, out of the 2 distractors, she's the worst, but I mean, this high up, yeah. I think bringing a Lampy is pretty good, because compared to Neoibiea, who needs to charge up a long shot and, you know, launch it, whatever, Lampy can just run up and guarantee it hits. The issue with Lampy is the fact that she has to get close to, you know, the face. She has to, like, get up right in their face in order to do the stun and everything, and that's her main issue. But yeah, so no, her main skill is, first she has, you know, the loud yell, loud scream thing. She just runs up, charges it for a second, screams right in their face, and stuns the killer for 2.5 seconds. That is the same stun time as Neoibiea, and it takes a fraction of the time to recharge, and also charge up to attack. Insanity, I know. The issue with Lampy's, though, is that obviously her screaming can't go through walls, so she has to be at point-blank range, basically, to hit the face, and the face can just, like, slap her right in the face, and then it cancels, so she has to recharge, or worse, slap her in the face, and she goes down. So that's the issue with that ability, is that it's close range and puts her in more danger. But if the face is picking up someone, and you run up behind them and hit them with it, then you can just extend a chase. Like, God forbid, if you save, like, Ball, if Ball gets caught and it's like, the face is picking up Ball. Because as we'll get to when we get to S tier, my God. But yeah, no, Lampy is pretty good at just being a shit starter. And her second ability is the silly sprint. Whenever she gets hit, whenever she gets put into injured, she activates a sprint where she runs 10% faster or 15% faster for 10 seconds. But then after the 10 seconds is up, she is 5% slower for 10 seconds. That is her main thing. And it's like, okay, I mean, it's pretty good at, like, ending chases. Like, I mean, if you hit a Lampy and she activates silly sprint, there's, like, good luck. But if you can manage to track her, or if you're a teleporting character, the 5% speed penalty afterwards is, yeah, that can be pretty bad. That can make Lampy go down pretty easily. But yeah, there's, like, no bad scenario. Lampy, there's no bad scenario to bringing her. She's, like, good all around. I don't think there's any scenario where I would rather someone else over Lampy. Lampy has the second best stun in the game. The easiest stun to hit in the game. She can be a really punishing character if you don't give her attention. But when you do give her attention, then she has a get out of jail free card with the run. She's just not overwhelming like the other characters are, as we'll get to, but yeah. She's all around pretty good, and my pick for the best starter character on the roster. Rounding out B tier, at the very top of B tier, we have Mr. Casa. Mr. Casa, when it comes to lone wolf characters, is about as lone wolf as you can get, because, I mean, literally, there isn't anything Mr. Casa does that doesn't just only benefit him. He, like, his stun is only good for extending chases with him. His healing is literally only a self-heal. His, like, debuff attack, again, is very highly situational, and even then, you have to get hooked and literally put yourself in a worse position just to get benefit out of him, which is why he is not higher than he is, but everything that he does have is, again, pretty good. So Mr. Casa's whole thing is he unlocks 3 abilities throughout the course of the trial. When at the very beginning of a game, he only has Healing Tip, which is basically his self-heal. It's 5% faster than being healed by other people, and it is, I'm pretty sure, affected by healing perks. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure it is. Okay, healing perks do not benefit him, so you can't pair this with Medic to get, you know, a 25% faster self-heal. You can't do that. But for the most part, Mr. Casa gets, I mean, 20, saving 5 seconds off of a heal is pretty decent. But then Mr. Casa, when he goes down and gets hooked, if he goes down and gets hooked, then his second ability unlocks, where it doesn't replace Healing Tip. He still has access to all these moves. He just solely unlocks over time. His second ability he has access to is Poison Tip. This is probably his weakest move in his arsenal. It is highly situational when it is useful, considering the fact that you just like shoot out a poison bubble, it hits the face, and for 30 seconds their screen has like a little recoil effect on it, like as if they were shooting a gun in like an FPS game, and like that's about it. Do they move slower? Oh yeah, they're 5% slower for 30 seconds, which, I mean, that's pretty good, I will say. I mean, that's like that's a pretty good slowdown. Like, I'm not gonna say that that isn't a good slowdown, but the flicking thing is so hyper situational, and also the fact 5% slower for 30 seconds immediately invalidates Kriss's entire existence. But hey, that's more about Kris than anything. Yeah, no, Mr. Casa's Poison Tip is pretty okay, but the actual benefit uses of it is nah. But then Knockout Punch, when he's on second hook, he unlocks Knockout Punch, which, my god, Knockout Punch. He punches the killer in the face. The killer is stunned for 3 seconds, and Mr. Casa gets 3% faster for 10 seconds. Meaning, the optimum play is to use Poison Tip and then Knockout Punch. So the killer is 5% slower for 30 seconds. Every 3 seconds, they have, like, recoil on their screen. And you are 3% faster for 10 seconds. On top of stunning them for 3 seconds. And also, they can't see your highlight for 10 seconds. But here's the downside. Here's the downside. It is kind of like a Neoibiea situation. Because Knockout Punch also has a 100-second cooldown. And unlike Neoibiea, there is literally no way to, like, shorten this at all. That is the issue with Mr. Casa, is his cooldowns. Is, again, 100 seconds, insane. Poison Tip, 45 seconds, my god. Like, the only ability of his that he has access to permanently, like, throughout the entire round is Healing Tip. And even then, it only helps him. And then it's like, okay, like, those are pretty good, it makes sense, you know, why. But then it's also the fact that to unlock all these abilities, he has to be hooked. Meaning, by the time he has his full arsenal unlocked, if he goes down and hooked again, he's out of the game. He's on death, he has to be at death hook to unlock his strongest thing. He's like a snowball character, but for participants, you don't really want a snowball character, because then it's more of a risky situation. I will say the main thing elevating him so high, because if his abilities were worse, like if his cooldowns were longer, or if they were tweaked down a lot more, Mr. Casa would easily be like a D tier character. His whole entire playstyle of being hooked to unlock shit, that is such a bad playstyle idea. It's like Taffy being rewarded for being bad, but the strength from it is so unbelievably good that you will be in clutch 9 times out of 10. A Mr. Casa on Death Hook is the scariest fucking participant you could face as a killer, because of the fact that you could just be slowed for half a minute and then stunned for 3 seconds. And he's running his little fat ass away and there's nothing you can do. It is actually insane how strong Mr. Casa can be if in the right hands and if the right situation lines up. But if the right situation doesn't line up, then honestly, I would take anyone else in B tier over Mr. Casa. But if the stars align, he could be damn near S tier. So I think just the top of B tier is the safest bet, because I think the fact he could be top of S tier to bottom of D tier, depending on how the round goes and the place, I think B tier is the best way to rank him. That was it for B tier. Like I said, any of those, I don't think I'd be mad if I saw any of you guys playing B tier on my team. I wouldn't really care. It'd all be fine. But then we have A tier. A tier and S tier, these are, in my opinion, the best characters in the game. These are basically must-haves for teams. And, like, I would say A tier is the must-haves. Like, you need this to have a good game. Whereas S tier is kind of like, you don't need them, but my god, you are going to have them because of how strong they are. And, like they will win you a game. Like, they will carry your back. Even though they don't, like, benefit the team at all, barely. But, regardless, going into A tier, at the bottom of A tier, we have Nyte. Nyte is the only character to be countered by Kris. Nyte is the only character to be hindered by their own teammate. But other than that, if in a perfect world, Kris did not do that because they're stupid, or if Kris simply is not on Nyte's team, Nyte is a pretty good jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none character. They are an altruist, but in my opinion, like, a really good one. So their entire thing is much like Arca. They collect tokens, except their tokens are a lot better. Compared to Arca, who her thing is just unhook people only, and then heal them when you have 5 to get the best, like, bonus, whatever. Nyte's entire thing is just, she just does various actions, like, to help the team out, and she gets rewarded from it. And then when they cash in their tokens, it benefits everyone. That is the best part about Nyte. Because of the fact that, so they collect 5, like, the idea energy orbs, right? They start with the idea of courage. I have to actually look at the list to remember which, like, the names of them at least. But, because some of them are confusing. But, so the idea of courage, they start with that at the first round. So they always have that by default. But if they use Show of Courage, their main skill at any point, then the way to re-earn the idea of courage is by stunning a killer with a pallet, which is how Kris screws them over. But, how they earn the other ideas, they earn the idea of purity by healing a participant a full health state. They earn the idea of intelligence for escaping a chase without going into downed. They earn the idea of wisdom by completing at least 25% of a generator repair progress. And they earn the idea of hope by unhooking someone. So, the best course of action for Nyte is you start the round, you have the idea of courage, right? You work on a generator 25%. You see your teammate go over and get downed. You see them get hooked. You go over, unhook them, you heal them back to full, the killer comes by and chases you, you stun them to, you know, re-earn the idea of courage if you already spent it, but if you didn't, then you still have the idea of courage. You stun them, and then you escape chase somehow, and you get the idea of intelligence. And now the next time you enter chase, you can use all of your ideas for 20 seconds of small buffs for every single participant on your team. And you don't have to have all of them to do this. You can only have the idea of courage. You can only have the idea of wisdom. You can only have the idea of intelligence. But the bonuses they give range from, okay, this is pretty useless, to holy shit, wow, that's insane. Yeah, so if you have the idea of courage, vaulting pallets and windows is 2% faster. Barely, I guess, useful, because you have to be in chase to get the bonus. So it's like Nyte has to be in chase to activate the ability, meaning the other teammates are not going to get use out of it unless they are also in chase at the exact same time with the same killer, which... purity, when you use it, healing speeds increase by 2%, which, okay, yeah, if someone is hurt or, you know, someone else unhooks someone, then okay, fine. Wisdom... generator repair speed 2% better. That's probably the most that the bonuses are going to be used. Because, I mean, a 2% generator repair speed bonus is pretty nice, all things considered. I mean, that's pretty nice, especially when Nyte is the one on doing the chase. and everyone else is trying to stay out the way, yeah, that can be pretty nice. And that does stack with things like Backtrackzzz or Simon, so that does help them out even more. And also the healing speed increase also helps, like, Arca and stuff, which that's, like, probably... Arca and Nyte is actually a pretty damn good combo. The issue... Well, actually, no, they're not, because even though the healing speed bonus helps Arca has to unhook, but Nyte also has to unhook, so actually, never mind. The one that probably is the most useless, though, is Hope, just because when you cash it in, it's a 2% increase to unhooking speed, which, like, that's barely noticeable. Like, that's not gonna save anything, especially because you're the one being chased. Why would it matter? It's just, it's so little of a time save, and there's little to no situation where that'd be useful. But the main reason why Nyte is so strong is because of the fact that when they use the idea of intelligence, which they have to escape a chase without being downed to earn, all of the participants outside of the face's terror radius are undetectable for 20 seconds. Meaning that the face, no matter what they do, no matter what abilities they use, cannot find the participants as long as the participants are out of the face's terror radius for 20 seconds. That is insanely good. That is really, really good. Like, that just, like, stealth on a whole other level. Because that basically makes any already existing stealth characters, like, participants, even better. Like, that just makes Simon instantly better. Like, like, immediately. He's like Mr. Casa better. It makes, you know, Six and Lampy and Taffy. It makes everyone better. And Nyte's bonus just gives everyone a little extra that helps characters that may be lacking in it. Like, yeah, maybe Backtrackzzz and another person are working on a generator, so Backtrackzzz only has a 5% generator repair speed bonus compared to 10. That extra 2%, I mean, it's not as good as a 10%, you know, repair speed bonus, but 7% is better than 5. Like, you know, like, that's the thing with Nyte, is it helps everyone else in areas that they may need it. And because it's 20 seconds, I mean, Nyte can easily use it in a chase, escape chase, and then it helps out someone else that the killer is chasing. Like, it just helps. And also the thing that's really good about Nyte I don't see people mentioning is the fact that also, because they float and don't walk, their little noise that they make when they hover is a lot quieter compared to footsteps, and also doesn't, like, change, or, like, so it's like when you walk, like, on the footsteps, it sort of, like, echoes. Like, especially on indoor maps, like, echoes. Well, Nyte doesn't have that. So, Nyte is actually harder to track just by default. So, yeah, Nyte is pretty good all around. It's just the setup for it. You need to be smart with the setup for it, but my god, even if you can't set that up, even if you only have one idea, if you cash it in, and if it's, like, intelligence or, like, wisdom or something, then, like, yeah, that's gonna benefit your team. Like, that's gonna help your team a lot. Even if you go down for it, that's gonna help your team out. Crazy. Next in A tier, in my opinion, we have the best healer in the game, bar none. When he was released, in my opinion, he was tied with Kris for worst character in the game, but now I believe he is the best healer in the game and is a must-have on any team. I still see people underrate him. I see people say he's worse than Arca still, for some reason. It is Baron. I think Baron is easily, like, fourth best participant in the game. Easily a must-have on any team. Like, you need a Baron, basically. Man, yeah, his ability got a really big overhaul when they slightly reworked him and gave him, like, the little extra, because that helped them out a lot. So his main thing is when healing someone, he can give them, like, a little potion, and so that person can't be healed, but after 20 seconds pass, they automatically heal a full health state, which is actually really good because that works regardless on, like, heal penalties. So, for example, Simon. Baron and Simon is actually a really good combo because Simon can get hit, can get chased away if the killer doesn't follow. Baron can give Simon the potion. Simon can work on a generator for 20 seconds, finish it with the 5% repair speed bonus, and then be healed by the time the killer comes around. It makes it so much better, but the thing was, before, it was literally just the 20 seconds instead of 5. That was the only bonus Baron had. Whereas, and it was like, it was pretty bad because it's like, well, there's nothing else to help them. they updated it to now wear Baron whenever they have it. They also don't make grunts of pain, and they don't leave behind a blood trail, which makes it so much easier for people to go stealth. It makes stealth so much easier for a lot of characters, because now, while they're being healed, they can work on generators and not be tracked by the killer. It makes, like, the efficiency of the team so much better. A good, not even a good Baron, just like an average to kind of bad Baron can still do so much wonder for their team. As long as he stays out of the way and doesn't get chased, Baron is like always going to be helping the team. And even then, the secondary ability they gave him, they already makes him a million times better, because what he has is these little, like, smoke, like, vial things. He throws them, and when a participant runs through them, they move 5% faster for, like, 2 seconds, I think it is. And it's like, that's really good. The downside is that the face can also run through it, and the face can be 5% faster for 2 seconds as well, which isn't as good. But still, and the thing is, like, because the optimal way to use this is you're watching someone be chased right next to you. They stun the killer with a pallet. You throw the vial at the person who stunned the killer. They run away. By the time the killer is done breaking the pallet, the smoke is gone. They can't get the bonus, and the other person is already away. That is, like, the best case scenario for Baron in the smoke vials. And the only downside is that the only way to reload them is going in lockers, which means there is a bit of downtime because you're sitting in lockers, and if the face opens the locker you're in, well, you're instantly being carried. That's not good. But other than that, there's, like, no downside to bringing Baron. He is pretty good all around. And, like, even the areas he lacks in, like being chased or working on generators, bring a Nyte. Have Nytes there, and yeah, no, Baron can cover those areas easily. There is nothing wrong with Baron. Like, Baron is, like, the best healer in the game, and I will die on that hill. And last but not least, in A tier, in my opinion, the final character we have before we border on genuinely fucking insane and should be nerfed is in A tier. We have Undyne. Undyne, if a tank was a character, it's Undyne. Undyne is a tank because her entire thing is jumping in a chase, taking a hit for someone with her block ability, and then just, like, punishing the killer from afar while they chase someone. Undyne's whole thing is interrupting chases for others and bringing the attention to her instead of the other person. That is Undyne's whole MO. And she also is really good at shutting down areas and blockading in the killer as well. Like, very good at it. So her main ability is her block. Whenever the killer swings at her, she can activate her block, and it has a 0.5 second, hit window. So if the killer hits her within the half-second block window, then she blocks it, she tanks, like, a full health state, like, she doesn't lose a health state when she blocks it, and she gets, like, a 3% speed boost, like, 2 seconds or something like that. Like, it's a really tiny speed boost, but it's, like, something. I'm pretty sure it's, 3% speed boost for 2 seconds. The only downside to it is the fact that if she has the weakened status effect, like, if Gabriel, like, throws a sword and hits her, like, and she's weakened, then yeah, she can't block, but that's because she's going to go down in one hit, because that's how weakened works. Undyne, like, unless you're weakened, there's only, like, one character who can passively just apply that, like, off the top of my head. So, yeah, 9 times out of 10, Undyne is, like, you're going to be able to block, like, 99 out of 100 attacks. But the main reason why you want to block is not just, buy time for others or make your chase go longer. The reason why you want to block is because of one fact, and that one fact is the fact that you gain a token for your Spears of Justice. When you have up to 5 tokens, you can rapid fire throw your spears, and if the spears hit the face, then the face moves 1% slower for each spear they have lodged in them, and that lasts for 15 seconds. So, like, yeah, you're throwing spears, and they're 5%. If you hit all of them, they're 5% slower for 15 seconds. And if they miss, then they get lodged in the wall or the ground, and the face can't walk through them. Meaning you could purposely miss and throw them into the environment to, like, wall off areas. The only downside is that participants also can't pass through them, so you can unintentionally or intentionally screw your teammates over, which is kind of bad. I've seen a few toxic Undynes. It's not good. Don't do that. But if you're playing as intended, it is to shut down areas and or slow down the face. That is her whole MO, is to shut down the killer and to jump in and help other people out with her abilities and being rewarded for it. That is her whole thing. She doesn't have any, like, generator bonus or anything, but she doesn't really need it because her role as being just a protector, very good at what she does. There is never, unless you completely misuse her entire kit, there is literally no wrong way to main Undyne. There is no wrong way to play her. And now moving on to S tier, we have the two best participants in the game. These ones are basically guaranteed to be in a lobby. There's just no way you're not gonna see these in your lobby. Like, you are 20 million % going to see these. Like, they are just that strong, and in my opinion do need to be nerfed, but one of these characters has been nerfed. So in my opinion, the top two characters in the game, starting off with the second best character in the game, drum roll please, is V1. V1, this is very controversial because I know a lot of people still say V1 is the best character in the game, like, for both sides. I do not think V1 is the best participant in the game. I don't think V1 is the best character in the game. He is still insanely good, still S tier, but he's not the king like he was on release. On release, his abilities were even stronger. He had an almost 10-second stun. Don't know what they were thinking with that one, but yeah, an almost 10-second stun, batshit insane. Yeah, no, V1 just smoked killers. Like, killers would go against, like, would dodge lobbies if they saw V1. That's how bad it was. And, I mean, V1 was, like prime nurse dead by daylight. That's, like, how bad he was. But, yeah, no. Fucking V1 is a lot better now. He's more balanced. He still needs to be nerfed, in my opinion, because he's insanely fucking strong for the arsenal he possesses. First of all, he has movement tech. I don't think I need to explain that. He has movement tech. He can just, instead of being able to crouch, he can't crouch. But if he presses the crouch button while sprinting, he can slide for up to 5 seconds. He can just, like, angle snap against a wall or a rock or something if he goes against it. And if he goes down a slope, he slides even faster. Meaning you can slide off down one of the hilly parts in the map, slide down the slope, and you get more speed than if you just ran, making it harder to hit. And also, he can crouch at the right moment to dodge an M1 attack, or a projectile, or anything. V1 is like a mosquito, and if you ignore him, then what he can do is wait for you to down someone, and then he flips the coin and shoots you with the marksman revolver, and you're stunned for 4 seconds. You are stunned for 4 seconds. Granted, the cooldown is long. Once you shoot it, it goes on cooldown for a minute and a half, which is only 10 seconds faster than Neoibiea and Mr. Casa in Mr. Casa's knockout punch. But still, by God, a minute and a half. And then if he misses, it's only a minute, which is like, okay. I mean, I guess it's fine, but, like, does he really need to be rewarded for missing? I don't know. But then it's like, oh my God, on release, it was even shorter. Like, it was like a minute cooldown, and it was like 30 seconds if you missed. It was like, oh my, it was bullshit. Granted, it's hard to hit because you're in third person, and the angling is weird, and it's hard to hit. But man, if you can figure out how to hit a projectile consistently, there is almost nothing you can do to stop V1. Your biggest problem as V1 is just in bigger maps or indoor maps where there's lots of walls and corners in the way. The coin, because it automatically hones in on the face, will oftentimes hit like a wall or hit like an object or something, and it won't count in your ability. You'll go on a minute cooldown, but still. Like, that is your biggest problem, but out in open areas, which is, like, most of the maps, my God, you just need to pray if you're a killer. If you're a killer, you need to pray that the V1 is ass, because if not, you are screwed, man. It's actually insane to me how good V1 is. Like, I understand why people still sit here and say he's best participant in the game. My only reasoning for why he isn't is just because movement tech is map dependent. His coin shot can be map dependent. He is pretty map dependent, but even on those map dependencies, it's like he goes from broken to, like, insanely strong. Like, that is that's the disparity of map dependency. On his worst maps, he is still one of your best picks, whereas on his best maps, he is the only pick you should be making. That is literally how strong V1 is. But moving on to, in my opinion, the best character in the game. I've mentioned him before, but here we have the living mosquito. We have Ball. Ball is, in my opinion, the best participant in Face Your Fear, bar none. I don't think that's controversial to say, although I know some people's hot takes are going to be saying that V1 should be best, but whatever. So, you know how I mentioned earlier, Face Your Fear is more Dead by Daylight adjacent, whereas most other ASIM games are like, you know, Pillar Chase, Forsaken, like stamina management oriented. Ball basically decides, okay, well, I'm in a Dead by Daylight game, but I'm going to take the mechanics from the stamina management games and put it in Dead by Daylight. You may not think that sounds good, because it's like, oh man, he can't run? Like, he has to manage how long he runs for? That's pretty shitty. The issue is that, I don't know if you know this, but when he runs, he has a permanent 10% faster run speed, which is affected by speed up things, meaning he can run 15%, 20%, 25% even faster than normal. And stamina, like the little stamina bar, man, regaining stamina, it is awfully generous. It is pretty damn generous. Most of the time, you will see a Ball sprint to a pallet, wait to pallet stun you, and then sit there and crouch while you sit there and break it to regain their stamina. So the second your break animation ends, they just sprint away, and they're back at, like, full stamina bar. It is so generous. And Ball is, like, if you are good at looping, if you are good at prolonging chases, if you are good just with map knowledge in general, my god, there is nothing you can do. There is just nothing you can do against the Ball. There are some loops where, because of Ball, that loop will become an infinite. Like, Ball is the only person to where maps have had to get tweaked just because of his existence. That is how strong he is. Like, he is so strong. And I know they've tweaked, like, his management and stuff. Like, they've, like, originally on release, he was, like, 15%, I think it was, but then they lowered it to 10, and then, like, they've changed his stamina management to be a little bit less forgiving. But still, man, oh my god, and even then, if you hit a Ball 9 times out of 10, there's a V1 on your team, so guess what? Slide over, bam, and then Ball can just scurry away. And when you get unhooked, like, and your stamina regains while you're downed, while you're doing animations, while you're doing stuff. So that means while you're unhooked, your stamina's back. So when you get unhooked, you have full stamina. It is like, man, the only thing that holds Ball back is vaulting windows. But again, vault a window and crouch, and, like, you get all of that back, like, almost instantly. It is crazy how strong Ball is. Like, in my opinion, the best lineup because again, it's a 1v6. In my opinion, the best lineup for character for solo queue would be Ball, V1, Baron, Nyte, 6, and maybe Backtrackzzz. I mean, Undyne is at top of A tier. Undyne's pretty much a damn good pick, but if you already have V1 and Ball on your team, I would rather go with Backtrackzzz. So, yeah, I would say, like, yeah, Ball, V1, Baron, Nyte, 6, Backtrackzzz. For solo queue player, for all pure solo queue team, that is your best lineup. For competitive teams, or teams that all have comms with each other, then, I mean, it is quite literally just Ball, V1, Undyne, Baron, Nyte, and, like, whoever the fuck else you please. Like, at that rate, I don't think there's any stopping you. But it may be Arca, maybe Taffy, maybe Neoibiea, like, I don't know, Simon or Kris, why not? But yeah, that is my tier list for the participants in Face Your Fear. We are not done, though, because we do have the faces, the main killers, to get into next. And these are the meat and bones. The meat and bones of the game. And these are the ones I am more knowledgeable on because I am much more of a killer main. So I am more knowledgeable on the faces than the participants. But, so I have more experience with these. But yeah. So let's get into it with the faces. So again, starting from F to S tier, worst to best. F tier, I have no one in F tier. I don't think there is any face that outright, like, is worse than bringing nothing. Like, yeah, sure there are. Like, yeah, Kris is, like, bad because they can directly hinder their teammates. Whereas F to me is, like, worse than nothing. Or just straight up, like, there is nothing. Whereas to me, D tier is, like, onward, they at least have something. So in my opinion, the worst character in D tier, starting us off, is Nekoluga. The evolution Nekoluga. Nekoluga from the Battle Cats is, in my opinion, the worst face in the game. He is a snowball killer that can never snowball. Except, he is a noob stomper. But if you have a even slightly coordinated team, there is just quite literally nothing you can do. Just say goodbye. Just pray as Nekoluga that you can do something. Because against a coordinated team, there is nothing you can do. I think a good example is, so you start off as Nekoluga and you eventually upgrade as the round goes on. So you start as Nekoluga, and then when you get cat food, you upgrade to unknown cat, and then when you get more cat food, you finally upgrade to your true form, which is Ultralon Passalon. But you're never going to get to those forms, because Nekoluga's whole thing is so convoluted, and it's a whole just a bunch of words that prove nothing to do nothing. It's so pointless to play him, man. It's like, okay, you don't have a terror radius, you're really small, so it's hard to see and detect you, so it's like you're basically just a ghost in the machine when you're Nekoluga. Okay, that's fine. Issue is, you can't vault fucking windows. You can't vault windows. That means you just can't do anything. You just can't do anything in, like, most maps, especially, like, any map that has, like, a main building. Man, you are screwed. There's nothing you can do. Then you are reliant on the participants that if you do hit them, you are reliant on giving them the curse effect, which, okay, yeah, sure, after 2 minutes of them not clearing it, they get weakened. But, like, again, they have to go to the cat food or whatever, and they have to cleanse it twice up. If you hit them twice or whatever, then they have to cleanse it. But it's like, and then it's like, so you have to hit them to apply curse. And then they go to the gamble machine to get the cat food, and they have to deliver it to somewhere else, and you're supposed to intercept them and down them to get the cat food. Or you're supposed to hit them, let them heal, hit them again, get them cursed, and then hit them. Or, it's so backwards how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to just hit and run people, and then hope that they interact with your power. Because if they don't, yeah, they go down in one hit. But if they don't, then they also don't give you your power, and they make you way stronger. Like, literally, the only benefit to Nekoluga is if you're going up against people who don't know how to play the game. If you explain it, like, if you just explain, oh yeah, you have to cleanse this or else, like, you're weakened. Then it's like, oh, okay. But, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's only good against people who don't know what they're doing. Literally, it's like, okay, unknown cat. He just becomes a normal M1 killer. That's all he is. Unknown cat, your reward for suffering through Nekoluga is being a basic M1 killer. That is all your benefit is. And then, when you have a secondary ability. You have a little ability, which is like the swipe, which is like, okay, it's basically a basic M1 hit, but you flap your arms around like this and you can hit multiple people. So it's like, okay, fine. That's good. Whatever. Okay, that's fine. And then if for some reason you can manage to get to Ultralon Passalon, very rarely will you ever get to Ultralon Passalon, but if you can get to Ultralon Passalon, then what you get is the swing attack becomes your main M1. So, okay, you just have a group attack. Okay, that's fine. And then you have the max grab, which is just like an instant grab. Not even a down. Like, it just skips from down straight to the carry state. Like, you're grabbing out a locker. And, I mean, it's strong. Just being able just to freely swing out and, like, instantly grab someone and be able to hook them. But you're also huge. Your terror radius is loud. You're 5% slower than a normal killer. And you will never, ever be able to fucking get to Ultralon Passalon. Nekoluga, I like the idea behind him. I love Nekoluga as a character. I love the idea behind him. But my god, it is executed in the worst way possible. The only reason why he is not an F tier is because you can pop off with him. But it is so rare and infrequent that it's basically guaranteed to almost never happen. Next up in D tier, we have Pinkamena, the pony Pinkamena. The pony is interesting because, like, she's not bad, but she's just very underwhelming. And there's just no reason to pick her besides the fact that, oh, you're playing the My Little Pony creepypasta. Like, that's literally the only plus to playing her. She's better than Nekoluga because she can just generally work across. Like, she doesn't, like, just have to hope and pray to actually, you know, pop off. But, like, I mean, okay, yeah, she's shorter, she's smaller. Okay, that's fine. When she enters chase, everyone in the map can hear her laughter. That way you can never tell who she's chasing or how close she is. Okay, that's fine. Pretty good to disorient them. If they interact with trapped chests, then they get a debuff, which fucks up their screen. Almost never gonna happen, but you know what? If it does, then sure, why not? I guess it can be pretty useful. If they go into basement, then you can just punish them. But I don't know why you'd go in basement the second you see that it's Pinkamena, knowing that she gets buffs from basement. And her main ability is throwing cupcakes, which gives 0.5% of a speed penalty to the participant that she hits with them for every cupcake she hits. And yeah, she rapid fires them. But, like, that's only, like, at max, like, a 5 or 6% slow, which is, like, it isn't bad, but you need to have perfect accuracy and be able to hit all your cupcakes just for, like, a default slow penalty you could get with any other killer. That's the reason with Pinkamena, is just because it's, like, once you notice it's Pinkamena, you're just not going to interact with chests, you're not going to go into basement, you're not going to do this and that, you're not going to do, like, any of these things. Like, at most, all she has for her is to disorient people and to slightly slow them down. Like, she isn't bad, but all of her kit tailors to you not knowing she's there. But once you figure out it's her, then 90% of her kit just becomes useless. That's my problem with Pinkamena. It's just that her actual kit that she can use throughout the game is, like, pretty unremarkable and, like, just bare bones and, like, a nothing burger. Whereas compared to everything else she has, all her passives, you get nothing. It's just nothing. She's like the basement trapper character. But there's no reason to go to basement unless she just forces everyone down there by, like, downing them and hooking them. Like, you know what I mean? There's just no reason to, like, there's just no reason. But at the top of D tier, in my opinion, out of everyone in D tier, I think the best out of all of them is the White Eyes Herobrine. Herobrine is okay. His issue is just he's not built for this game because even though it is very Dead by Daylight inspired, it's a 1v6. So, like, you have to be at least a little bit better about traversing the map. At least a little bit. You can't take your sweet time because, again, if Jin rushing is already a problem in Dead by Daylight when it's 4, Jin rushing is literally, like, your best strategy in a 1v6. So, like, you need to be able to apply pressure. And I just find that even though Herobrine has the tools to, the setup to do so just takes too much time and puts him in a bad position by the end of the game. Like, yeah, sure, in the mid to late game, if he has his web of traps and everything set up, it's fine. He's pretty good. But if you don't have that set up, then you're just screwed. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, early game, if they keep chasing you and distracting you and preventing you from setting up, then by the time the mid to late game comes, you're wasting too much time and they're probably about to escape. Like, that's the issue with Herobrine. It's just the setup required is not worth the reward. Like, I think a really good example is the fact that his teleport. You have to sit there and stalk a survivor. You have to stand still and stalk them for a few seconds. And if they see you, they can just drain your bar. And your reward for it is to teleport. And, like, yeah, sure, you're undetectable for, like, 45 seconds, which pretty decent at stealth, but still, it's just, like, you know, it's not, like, something you would go out of, it's not something that's, like, directly super useful, you know? Because, yeah, sure, they may not be able to see you coming, but once they see you and you're in chase, you don't have anything to help them. And it's like, yeah, his other, like, blocks and stuff, like the Netherrack block to block pathways is pretty good on indoor maps, especially if he lights the Netherrack on fire. Lit Netherrack is hell to deal with, especially if you're in chase with him. Like, that's pretty good. The lava is a good trap, which applies the gushing effect, which means that they don't heal within 2 minutes, then they just bleed out and they're put in their down state automatically. And then there's the redstone torch, which the redstone torch is pretty pointless. I mean, yeah, you see their aura when they're around it, and they're oblivious for while they're in it, so they can't, like, see your highlight or anything. But the redstone torches is worse. But again, it's just the setup time for all of that. It's like he has so much potential in there, but the setup time for it just doesn't work with the game. And the stalk feels so half-assed and forced in and undercooked, and it just feels so so useless for, like, what you actually get out of it. Your best scenario as Herobrine is setting up a web of traps, stalking someone, teleporting somewhere, if, like, stalking someone, attacking them, like, you know, maybe downing them, hooking them, whatever, and then teleporting elsewhere you think they are and catching them off guard and to try and chase them into your traps. Or just simply just chase people into your traps. Because the stalking thing in the teleport, it's nice, but it is so useless for what it is. Like, the teleport is just... The teleport's good, it's just the stalk needs to be better, or fixed, or what have you. Because, like, maybe make it so it doesn't drain as fast. Maybe make it so it doesn't drain at all. I don't know how they would balance it. Just balance it somehow. Starting out C tier, we have a killer that was pretty okay before, but because of the introduction of 6, my god, she has taken a hit. It is the something Tearapart. Tearapart is, my god. And, I mean, she wasn't breathtaking or anything. She was, like, low B tier, so she isn't far from where she was. But, like, she was, like, low B tier. She was, like, okay, you know, average, whatever. But then, man, it was just, like, something happened, and now it's, like, 6 came out, and it's just, like, she is, like, she's awful. She is awful now, because her entire thing is she's a pure stealth killer. And when you have someone like 6, whose entire thing is constantly exposing, there's nothing she can do. There is nothing she can do. Nothing at all Tearapart can do. Because she just gets exposed constantly. And she's also like Nekoluga. She is a pup stomper. She's like a noob stomper. But, man, she just... against people who know where she is, like, it's like a mix between Nekoluga and Pinkamena. Like, if you know Tearapart's there, then you're gonna play cautious and look out for her. If you don't know she's there, she's gonna catch you off guard. And if you don't know what you're doing, she's still gonna catch you off guard, even if you know she's there. That's the whole thing with Tearapart. She can crawl underneath generators or inside lockers, and if someone interacts with either of them, she can jump down and instantly carry them, like a little jump scare. That's fine, but, again... if you know what you're doing, if you know the killer is Tearapart, if you have 6 and you see that it's Tearapart, then it just immediately becomes... and because you have to hide under a generator, if you hide under a generator with the signal transmitter, you're just exposing yourself constantly. You lose all stealth. And it's just... like, she's just been, like, power crept by 6 so hard. She's so hard countered by 6 being in almost every team because of how good 6 is in solo queue. Like, I mean, Tearapart is just, my god, like, her only saving grace is that she has the tail swipe attack, which is basically just like the Demogorgon Shred from Dead by Daylight. It's just like you just leap forward and take a health state if you hit someone. It's like, yeah, that's nice to have something in chase, but without that, man, she just literally has nothing. Like, Tearapart's whole thing is sitting under a generator, wasting time and not applying pressure and hoping someone runs up to her and then she can jump out and get them. Like, that is, like, literally her whole thing. Like, if you know she's going to be there, without a doubt, you know for a fact she is going to be there as soon as you see her for the first time, and you know to look out for the signs underneath the generators. You know not to go in lockers unless you're Baron and you have to, but you're still going to look out for signs. It's so easy to detect her, too, because of the rattling, because of the hissing, because of the little tail poking out from underneath the generators. It's so easy to tell when it's Tearapart. And again, she just loses that pressure, because all that time you are sitting there underneath a generator is time you are not chasing participants. And your only reward is you get an instant carry. But if V1 is there, then all you're doing is, like, you're grabbing someone like, you know, Simon. V1 just, like, shoots you, and then Simon skedaddles. But Simon then is put into injured automatically, because that's how the system works. And now you just give Simon a free +5, like, repair speed bonus. See what I mean? It's just, like, Tearapart was already kind of meh. Like, she was meh to good, like, okay, you could get a little bit some use being a noob stomper, but now that 6 is there, and the fact that 6 is also a pretty beginner easy character is just, like, there's just nothing Tearapart can do. Like, she still has a kit to use, but it's hard for her to use it. The only other killer that I have in C tier, the only other face I have in C tier is the Cursebringer Diaper. If you know nothing about Face Your Fear and you're hearing that there is a killer named Diaper that is a Withered Chica recolor, yeah, no, that's just part of the thing. This is part of the Test Game 3 collaboration that brought us Arca and Neoibiea. But, yeah, Diaper is such a mixed bag of a character. On one hand, Diaper is ass. On the other hand, Diaper can be really good. It is like the Nekoluga problem, except way better, because Diaper's whole thing is, okay, release a curse. While they're in it, they're slowed, their vision's impaired, whatever, right? And it builds up your little curse meter, which is pretty good. But the issue is, Diaper, by default, 10% slower, which is, you know, not good. You know, not the greatest, but, I mean, it's... they're the slowest face in the game by default, so, you know, that's not good, but it's not good. There's no positive. There is literally no positive to, like, anything there. There is just no positive to it. But then it's like, okay, you build up the curse meter, right? You build up the curse meter. You build it up, and you're at 100. What do you get as your reward for when you build it up? Simple. You transform into Loaded Diaper. You get engulfed in a ball of light, and you become Loaded Diaper, which means that it is Withered Chica's recolored head on a buff masculine body storming around, which is 5% faster than normal face speed. So, okay, so now you're not only normal face speed, but you're 5% faster by default. You are immune to stuns, so if you get stunned by anything, you just tank it. Like that's your reward, but it only lasts for a minute. Diaper's saving grace is the fact that the curse meter, the curse cloud that he releases is so big. That is his saving grace. But his other downside is the fact that when he does hit someone, they receive maximum knockback, as in they will go flying until they hit an object. So if you hit someone and they don't hit an object, they can go from one end of the map to the other side, which can be very bad for you when you're by default 10% slower. The only upside is if you're in a small area and you hit them and they go against a wall and then you hit them again. It is the only time it is useful, is when you pinball them around and combo them. That is the only time the knockback is useful. But it isn't useful 9 times out of 10. In fact, it just screws you over most of those times. Diaper could be such a good killer. But man, like, if it wasn't for the Loaded Diaper form, we are talking about, like, bottom of the barrel. Because that 10% slowdown and the knockback is, like, that is crippling. And I don't blame people for shifting Diaper in and out. Because I've seen quite a few takes saying Diaper's the worst killer in the game by default. And it's like, I don't personally agree, but I am not shocked by seeing Diaper on the contention. Moving on to B tier, starting off with the Fiend, Bray, Wyatt. Yeah, the Fiend, he's okay. The Fiend was the reason I got into Face Your Fear. In case you don't know, I am a huge WWE fan. I love the Fiend my favorite gimmick of all time. So hearing that he was in an ASIM game, I was really excited to try it out. I love the Fiend. I love Bray Wyatt. Rest in peace. And I really do like how respectful and well done he is, you know, presented in the game and how respectful it is. But gameplay-wise, I do think he is on the lower side of B tier. His entire thing is the insanity mechanic, which is essentially just Doctor from Dead by Daylight, except he doesn't have an electric blast. So what does he have? He has 7 doors that pop up around doors. 7 doors that pop up around the generators around the map. Okay, so Springtrap Dead by Daylight. All right. But his whole thing is he goes through a door and it's random. That is his biggest downside. He doesn't see where he goes through the door. Participants don't see where they go when they enter the door. They just go through. The big upside of the doors is that if he pops out and there are participants nearby, they scream, which reveals them, which also forces them off an objective for like a second, and also builds up their insanity meter. If he enters chase, they scream and build up their insanity meter. When he hits on, builds up their insanity meter. If both the Fiend and a participant are using the doors at the same time, the Fiend will jump scare and chase the participant out and will give them max insanity. There are 3 tiers to insanity. There's Insanity 1, which is just hearing like whispering and like little noises. Insanity 2, they have a 5% slower heal rate, and also they cannot detect the Fiend's terror radius. Like, the terror radius for the Fiend gets way smaller. So by the time you start hearing it, well, guess what? Bam, Bray's right there. So that can really screw you over. And then finally, stage 3 of Insanity. You constantly hear his chase theme. You constantly hear his terror radius. Your screen turns red. You straight up can't heal other participants. And text flashes on your screen. Which, thankfully, you can turn off in the settings because, you know, accessibility issues. They don't want people having seizures while playing the game, which is understandable and respectful. But the fact that that toggle does exist does nerf him a little bit. But, I mean, I would rather have a killer be nerfed by an accessibility setting than, you know, having people die playing against him. So, whatever. But, yeah. No, the Fiend, very much so like the Insanity mechanic. Okay, decent debuffs, you know, just straight up can't heal at max. Disorients them, never know, they can't tell where you are ever. It's just the randomness, the RNG involved with his doors and everything, and then also the fact that they could just break a whole stage of insanity by doing the snap it out thing, like the little like snap out of it thing for like 7 seconds, which like removes like a whole tier of insanity. It's like, yeah, it's like the Fiend isn't a bad pick, but he's just so much more random and luck-based than a lot of other characters should be. I like the Fiend. I think he's, again, presented well gameplay-wise. I do think he's a little underwhelming, and I think he could use some buffs. I think, at the very minimum, at least have the Fiend be able to choose. If you want to do the random thing, keep that for participants. Don't make the Fiend have to suffer through that, too. Up next, we have the Darkness Nightmare. Nightmare from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Yes, insert all the memes about, you know, hey, it's Kris. You know, like, right behind you, and he's, like, big and scary. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Or whatever the hell, like, those stupid memes. But yeah, no, Nightmare from FNAF 4 is in Face Your Fear. He is the Darkness. I think Nightmare he's okay. And like I've said, and again, you know, I've said this, I think Nightmare is okay, considering the fact he is in B tier. I think he's alright, you know? Nothing crazy special. He's there. He's there. Like, his entire thing is just disorienting people. Like, every time someone goes to sleep, which you automatically get put to sleep after 60 seconds, or if he hits you, he gains a token which allows him to teleport to generators, alarm clock stations, or, like, lockers. Yeah, lockers. And he can teleport to them, which is like, okay, that's fine. You know, it's okay. Okay, he can teleport pretty good. And then when you're asleep, audio is muffled by 50%. Like, you can barely see. Like, yeah, it's a pretty strong, like, debuff effect. And you have to go to the alarm clock stations, which wastes time, which is pretty good. But other than that, he's just a basic M1 character. He has nothing going for him. He is just an M1 character. Like, yeah, he's good at keeping people off of objectives, and he can surprise people with the constant teleporting around. but the fact that he laughs loud as fuck when he teleports kind of defeats the point of surprise. Granted, everyone hears it, so you never know if he's teleporting to you or not, but still. It's not like he can just cross-map teleport either, it's like a short range around him. So, yeah, Nightmare is just, he's a character that's like, he can be really good, but at the end of the day, he's just an M1 character. He has nothing special going for him besides just a really strong, like, debuff. But, yeah, he's just an M1 character. Next up, we have the poster child for the faces, and compared to the poster child for the participants, being Kris, Nyte is a lot better. This is the Showman Nyte. Showman is, pretty good. The Showman is pretty decent. Showman, whatever the hell. Nyte is pretty okay. Again, same vein as, Nightmare and the Fiend, which kind of funny that they're all next to each other, with just teleporting and stealth. Nyte's whole thing is he can pull out his hand, do like a little like finger animation thing, and he can choose to teleport to any generator around the map. He crawls out, he makes the participants around him scream, and then, you know, he can just chase them like M1. Or, when he does his finger thing, he can decide to leave a clone there. That clone then takes his terror radius, and they keep his terror radius until either Nyte downs someone, or Nyte summons a new clone, or someone runs up and dissipates the clone. Nyte can also choose to teleport to his fog clones. So, you know, so he can see someone over there, like, trying to dissipate it, so he can just, like, teleport to go, like, bleh, and, you know, jab him in the face or something, you know? And so, Nyte, I think, is all around good. He is all around just a good character. You can't go wrong with Nyte. I mean, yeah, some characters, like Six, for example, do counter him pretty good, and, you know, at the end of the day, he's a basic M1 character. But I think his teleporting ability helps him a lot. The fact that it has a relatively shorter cooldown, like 20-25 seconds, pretty decent cooldown. It's not oppressive, but it's not like crazy, like, you know, long. He has a decent cooldown. His clones can provide some pretty good mind games. I think for the most part, Nyte is just all around just a good character. He's just a good character all around. You can never go wrong with Nyte. I mean, there's obviously better picks, but a great Nyte main can curb stomp. Unless you're playing at the top of your game, a good Nyte main is going to curb stomp you. That's just the law of the land. I'm just saying how it is. Next up in B tier, we have the abandoned Hourglass. Hourglass is in the same vein as Nyte, whereas Nyte is teleporting in stealth. Hourglass is basically dashes and like status effects, but he's pretty good overall, and I would say he's slightly better than Nyte is. So yeah, Hourglass's whole thing is he has the tunnel charges, which is basically just like a straight like lunge attack, and then he can land, and then he can choose to lunge somewhere else. He can do two of them like back to back. He can chain two of them if he misses. And if he hits a pallet or a wall, then he instantly breaks it and just continues on his merry way. If he hits a generator, he mauls the generator for a bit, which takes a huge chunk of progress, but it only can happen once per generator. And if he hits a participant with it, then what happens is the participant is then given the inked status effect, which the inked status effect basically just applies a pretty strong debuff of like they're weakened if they don't take care of it fast enough, and their audio will be muffled and their vision will be darker. Basically just a better version of fucking Nekoluga's, because it's essentially the same effect plus it disorients with muffling audio and also darkening their vision. Like, it is just like immediately 5 times better. like immediately 5 times better. And the only way to get rid of it is to go to a chest, grab like a special oblivious chest with sponsor on the map, grab a lighter, and then like burn it off, and then like it's fine. But if they don't do that, then if Hourglass hits them and they're inked, and regardless, they're put into the carrying state. So yeah, instant carry if you get hit while inked with the charge. Granted, I mean, it's pretty hard to chain like 2 charges together, like in the same chase, so it's not as strong as you think it would be, and plus you've got to like aim it and everything, but for the most part that is pretty good. Like, Hourglass is pretty good. He doesn't have the ability like teleport and using the oblivious charges for map traversal, while a good strategy, like, it helps a lot, which is his main weakness, is traversal. It helps a lot, but yeah, it's not his strong suit. That's, like, his main downside, is just spreading out, because if you spread out across the map, it's hard for him to keep track of everything at once. But if he can just keep applying those tunnel charges, if he can keep applying Inked, he can do pretty damn good damage long term. Next up, we have the Mystery Man, WD Gaster. In my opinion, WD Gaster is pretty overrated. He's still high B tier. I think Gaster is pretty good, but most of the community I see says he's like, oh, he's like A tier, S tier. All he is a pure stealth character, but he's a lot better than Tearapart. Again, hard countered by 6, and I think that's really why most of his discussion of being overpowered kind of died down, is because 6 counters him. But his entire thing is he can turn completely invisible, which 6 cannot track, which is good because the game doesn't count it as a chase. So he can turn fully invisible for 10 seconds, he can pop out of it, but he can't attack while in it. And so he can pop out of it and then attack. But his vision's all messed up, so it's all like solid black and white. It's like two-tone. It's like, it's hard to see, but you can still see participants just fine. But then you can just wail them, hit them with your attack when you pop out of it, and there's nothing really they can do. Unless they hear you coming, which, I mean, he does still leave like a little audio trail. But yeah, unless they hear you coming, then yeah, you can just avoid that. And his other thing is, after enough time, so I think it's like 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It is like a long time. But after like 3 or so minutes, the darkness growing, kicks in. The darkness ever growing, whatever it's called, the darkness, whatever. The darkness kicks in, and it's basically like Dredge's Nightfall and Dead by Daylight, where the entire map is covered in darkness. Participants basically cannot see 10 feet in front of them, and all participants are oblivious, which means they cannot track Gaster's whereabouts at all, which actually means that while in darkness, 6 is basically useless. 6 is useless when the darkness kicks in, because they can't, literally, everyone's oblivious, so they can't see the Gaster's aura regardless. So, he also has the smallest terror radius. So, his entire thing is being borderline undetectable, but if you can keep track of him, and if the darkness, if it not within the darkness, 6 hard counters him. Other than that, he's an M1 character, but he is still pretty decent, I will say. He is pretty decent. He can get the job done, but not your bestest choice. And at the top of B tier is where most of the killers lay, but at the top of B tier, in my opinion, we have the End, Anomaly. Anomaly is the most recent face to be added, and he's pretty complex, but I wouldn't say bad. His, like, skill ceiling is super high, but his, like, barrier to entry is so high also, because, like, if you're bad as Anomaly, you are not doing shit. His entire thing is micromanagement, basically. Like, micromanaging his thorn stacks that he, like, the thorns that he applies to participants, keeping track of them, micromanaging that, micromanaging when to do the Tomb of Thorns. Like, that's his whole thing. It's just micromanagement. And it's just like, you know, because, like, by their own, thorns don't do anything. So as a debuff, thorns literally don't do a debuff. They're not a denerf. They're not a debuff. They are nothing. Thorns just don't do fucking anything, except give him his power. So he can do the undercharge, I believe it's called, the undercurrent. He can use undercurrent to summon, like, a little vine thing that controls outside of him. So he stands still, but he can summon, like, a little vine thing that moves around. And it pops out of the ground really quick, and it can jab participants. And when it jabs them, they get a stack of thorns. He can then hit them with it again to then, if they have any amount of stacks of thorns, then he can hit them with it again to then injure them and then also down them. So that means if you only use undercurrent as your attack, then they will have 2 stacks of thorns. And if that means if you down them twice, then they will have 4 stacks of thorns. And that means if you hit them with undercurrent while they are injured and on death hook and have 4 stacks of thorns, they are skewered in place, and you have 4 seconds to run up to them, and then you can just prematurely use your finisher and kill them. Anomaly is the only character in the entire game where the finisher option is available outside of the last man standing, of like there's only one participant left in the entire round. Anomaly is the only character where that happens. And like, it's a scary threat. It sounds strong on paper, but the fact is still, at most, you have to use Undercurrent 3 times. You have to use Undercurrent 3 times in order to get one down. Meaning you have to use it like 4 times. And then you can use Tomb of Thorns, which puts them in like basically like the Pyramid Head, like little cages. Like where it teleports them so random so you don't have to pick them up and hook them or anything. You can just like jab them. And then next you know, they're in like a tomb, like their little cage somewhere across the map. And for however many thorn stacks they had, that is how much faster they progress for their hook stage. Meaning if they have 4 stacks of thorns and you use Tomb of Thorns, then they're somewhere else randomly on the map and they progress 4% faster to the next hook stage. The main downside is the fact that when you use Tomb of Thorns, it consumes all of their thorns, so you have to start from square one all over again. The finisher, like, option for Anomaly is so unbelievably rare and hard to get that trying to go out and go for it is literally just like throwing the game. And I don't think I've ever seen an Anomaly get more than just like, if I've seen an Anomaly in a game go for it, they've gotten maybe 1 kill on hook, and then they've gotten 1 finisher, and that was literally it. Everyone else escaped. At most, maybe just that 1 kill. It's like Anomaly. It is so unbelievably hard for Anomaly to do that and get, you know, rewarded for it. And then you have to go through the finisher animation, which means you can't do anything while watching it, so everyone else can, you know, finish popping gens or open the exegate, or do whatever, or go for other saves. And it's like, it's almost better to just leave, like, slug them there and then go for someone else, you know? But, and then on top of that, the cooldown for Undercurrent. The cooldown for Undercurrent is 20 seconds, meaning that to down them, it takes a full minute. Unless you M1 them, but then you're not getting your thorn stacks. That is the issue with Anomaly. It's just that the thorn micromanagement. And then, oh yeah, by the way, Tomb of Thorns is not the only way to remove thorns. Every time someone is unhooked, they lose 1 thorn. Every time, to heal someone, you can just, like, pluck out the thorns as a participant, so you can pluck out someone's thorns. It takes, like, 5 seconds per each thorn, so that's, like, you know, that's 20 seconds for a full 4 stacks of thorns. But still, like, I mean, even if you just take out 1, that still slows down Anomaly a lot. And it's just like, man, it's just, yeah. Anomaly in the right hands can snowball pretty hard and, like, hurt the survivors really bad. But, man, in 9 times out of 10 scenario, he is a decent killer who, if he over-relies on his main flashy cool ability, he's just screwing himself over, like, hardcore. That's, like, all he's doing. But that's it for B tier. I don't think there's a bad pick in B tier, but they're all like B tier is like characters who are all good, but they just have better options. Now we get to A tier, and we have the top 6 best faces in the game, the 6 best killers faces in the entire game. Starting off at the bottom of A tier, we have the Overlord Neometal Sonic. I know, I was just as shocked as you when I saw Neometal was on the roster for some damn reason, but he's here. Yeah, Neometal's whole thing is he just punishes grouping up. Like, Neometal is the one killer where someone like Simon or Backtrackzzz is, like, genuinely your best pick, just because his entire thing is punishing grouping up. Neometal has 2 abilities. He can turn into liquid metal, which allows him to slide under generators, pallets, under breakable walls, like through vault windows, whatever, and then he can just pop out, and yeah, everything's fine. Like, yeah, it's only like a short, like, 5 seconds he can do it, but he can still do it. Everything's fine, right? That's not the main reason Neometal's strong, besides his anti-loop potential with that. His main reason he's so strong is his lightning strike. He can summon a marker on the ground, which allows him to shoot down a bolt of lightning. Whoever it hits head on will lose a health state, but if there's any participants around them, then the lightning will arc off of the participant and stun those participants as well. Won't remove their health states, but will at least stun them. So that is the main strength of Neo Metal, is you see someone gets unhooked, you see them healing, you stun them, and one person gets downed or injured or whatever, and then everyone else is sitting there, so you can just run up and just, like, slap them in the face and get another down, and then go chase the other person and get, like, a third down. That is, like, the best case scenario. It can go up to 4 people stunned at a time, so that is 1 person losing health state, 3 others stunned in place, but that is really strong because that's, like, 2/3 of the entire team being stunned at once. It is a really, really strong ability. But the issue is much like our good friends in the participants list, Neoibiea and Mr. Casa, the cooldown is horrible. Like, the cooldown for fucking the lightning strike, man, the lightning bolt is like 40 seconds and the liquid metal is 10 seconds. Like, 40 seconds for the cooldown is crazy. It was originally like 45, I'm pretty sure, but they shortened it by 5, which, I mean, it's not really that big of a change, but it is a slight buff. But yeah, no, Neo Metal early on in the game, when he first came out, was probably your best executioner. But why did I say executioner? This is on fucking outcome memories. He is probably your best face. He was probably your best killer when Face Your Fear came out, when he got released, but over time he has slowly drifted down to the bottom of A tier, even though he has gotten buffs. And I don't think it's power creep. I think it's just because, you know, he was S tier, he was the meta he was the meta when the only other killers in the game are Nyte, Pinkamena, like fucking like Tearapart. Like, that's like the only like other, you know, like those, that's like, that has to be the meta by like default. But yeah, Neo Metal Sonic is still a pretty solid, pretty good pick, like all around. You cannot go wrong at all choosing Neo Metal. Up next in A tier, we have the Vessel Chemy. The Vessel is pretty good. He is probably the best starting character in the lineup, like, bar none, I think. I mean, out of the starting characters being Nyte, Tearapart, and Chemy, I think Chemy is the best of the 3, and for a very good reason. Chemy is the jack of all trades, master of none, kind of like Nyte's, but I'd say worse than Nyte's, but still, you know, whatever. Yeah, Chemy is all around, I think, insanely good at what they do. The Vessel is really good at what they provide. Essentially, imagine Vecna from Dead by Daylight, not the Stranger Things one, the Dungeons and Dragons one. That ability is essentially just, you have 3 mini abilities. You have the Shriek ability, which makes you go third person and you glide around as like the 3 spirits, and you can just shriek and yell at survivors, and when you do that, you make them oblivious, and also you can, like, I mean, yeah, it just makes them oblivious. It's not really that strong. Shriek is honestly the worst part of his kit. It's borderline useless. There's a few scenarios I think it could be useful, like you're breaking up a heal, or like if you know 6 is on the team and like they're healing 6, and you want to shoot them and like shriek at them to prevent them from getting like the bonuses from, like, you know, 6, whatever. It's pointless. The other ability is the Shadow Web. Basically, you look while you're in chase, but you can do it outside of chase. Pretty useless though. But if you're in chase, pretty good. You can summon the Spirit of Rough Draft Kris to appear in the window, and it blocks the window so you can't vault through. But the really strong part is the fact that, yeah, so they can't vault through, so you can go for an M1 hit, or you can teleport directly to Rough Draft Kris and just appear behind them and, like, get them that way. Like, it's not immediate, like, they have a little bit of sign that, like, you know, you're teleporting, whatever, but still, for the most part, it's, like, you know, it's pretty good. Like, I'll say, it is pretty strong. with it. I mean, there are a few times I think you could use Shadow Web for map traversal, but it's so loud and it has such a cooldown, and it's so strong that it's almost like you don't want to use it outside of chase, because that is a chase ending move. You pop it and you just block a window, and if it's like a dead end where the window vault's the only thing, well, goodbye. Bye-bye, participant. Get ready to go down. There's nothing they can do. It's pretty good. But the other part of the Vessel's entire moveset is the Shadow Trail, which is essentially a guard from the Nyte in Dead by Daylight. You just summon a little trail on the ground, and the spirit of Limo will traverse it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if someone gets near her, she will chase after them and hit them and put them, I believe, in the gushing status effect? Yeah, which also means that if they get chased, you can go around, Limo hits them with the gushing, and then you catch them off guard and down them immediately. It is a pretty strong combo. There's a lot of combos and strategies, you know, managing your cooldowns for 3 abilities, and, you know, what to use at the right time. And I think for the most part, Vessel is really underrated, especially for being a free character that, like, just is a part of the starting roster. Yeah, the Vessel Chemy is just an absolutely insane character, very, very strong. I have no issue at all with Vessel. Not to mention, also kind of fun to go against because, you know, baiting out their abilities and all that. But yeah, Shadow Web by itself is strong enough for Vessel to be this high up. Up next, we have the teacher, Baldi. It wouldn't be an ASIM game without Baldi, because of course. But yeah, Baldi is here as the teacher. Baldi is basically the snowball character done completely, right? It works exactly how you think Baldi would. He places notebooks or noteboos around. People interact with them. If they get it wrong, he speeds up. If they interact with them while within his terror radius, he stops for 2 seconds to say, "Wow! Great job!" which can end chases and help the participants get away. And Baldi just slaps his ruler and he moves like how he does in Baldi's basics. So he's just, you know, he can go lightning fast by the end of the game, the fastest participant. And yeah, I mean, Baldi, it's a lot less like Nekoluga, where it's like, it feels like, oh, it's all down to the participants, like, if you even can snowball or not, and it's more so like, it's just an inevitable snowball. It's just participants can choose to speed it up or not. Because Baldi's naturally going to get faster the more generators are done and everything. Like, Baldi is just going to be fast, like, regardless. There's, like, you cannot do anything to stop Baldi. It's like he's just gonna be done. He's just gonna be fast at the end of the game, and you just have to hope. He is insanely fast, and not to mention, when Baldi is active, the item, the spray paint can, which is basically the flashlight save, but instead of, you know, blinding the screen, you have to stand up, spray paint on their face, and then just sort of like blocks their screen for a bit. You can still see around it, but it's a lot more tolerable than the flashlight. But yeah, so Baldi replaces the spray paint can with a bee soda, which, when hit, launches you back, which can be pretty bad on some open maps, so it's kind of like the same knockback as if you got hit by Diaper, so it's like, eh. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, especially if you use the bee soda, like, on Baldi, like, when the exit gets repowered and he's, like, max speed, it's like, yeah, that's, like, a game-changing move, but compared to the spray paint can, which you can use, like, 5 or 6 times before it's empty, Baldi, it's a one shot. If you mess it up or use it at the wrong time, well, oopsies, you're out of it. Like, that's the thing with Baldi. But, like, yeah, Baldi is relatively good, relatively strong. Like, for being such an early character in the game, he has not been affected by power creep whatsoever, as simplistic as he is. He has a fair amount of counterplay with the wow, great job and everything. Baldi is just awesome. He's just awesome to have here. At the top of A tier, V1 would not be complete without the Apostate Gabriel. Gabriel from Ultra Kill is at the top of A tier, and for good reason. His entire thing is he's like a platform, like, he's like a fighting game character in an ASIM game, and that's kind of the fun thing about Gabriel. He's like one of the most fun characters to play. His entire thing is he can combo, so his M1 can lead into his combo moves. So he hits an M1, okay, they're injured. He then does a quick dash if he continues the combo, which puts them in gushing, and then if he can manage to hit it, he jumps up, and dives down, and if he hits the dive down, he skewers the participant and instantly can put them in the carry state. It's very hard to hit that dive, but if you can hit that dive, man, it is so good. Feels so good to hit that dive. That is such, like, a game, like, oh my god, it's so satisfying, but it's also really strong because instant carry is fucking insane, obviously. But it's balanced because the fact that it's so hard to hit. It's difficult to hit. And I've played Gabriel quite a bit. He's pretty hard to hit that. But of course, if you decide you don't want to combo for some reason, his easily worst ability is the fact he can throw one of his swords. Just like throw it, and when it hits a participant, then they are weakened for like 30 seconds, or until Gabriel gets his sword back, whichever one happens first. Either until Gabriel runs over there and downs the participant and gets his sword back himself, or 30 seconds pass, or the participant pulls the sword out of them, whatever, which one happens. But during that 30-second span, Gabriel cannot combo. And if he misses, he has to go all the way over there and retrieve his sword, or wait the 30 seconds. Which just wastes time, and also removes his strongest ability, which, again, is the combo. And it's kind of like, it almost feels like, I wouldn't even say healing is against him is the wrong move, because, I mean, his M1 still downs you like a normal M1, he just doesn't get the cool combo off. But it's like, Gabriel's such a damned if you do, damned if you don't character, just because if you heal against him, then he can combo you and instantly carry you. If you don't injure, his M1 still works like an M1. Like, if you don't heal gushing, you go down. If you get hit with the sword and you don't remove it, you're weakened, so you're just a one hit down, like, regardless. That is, like, the mind games of Gabriel. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But it's balanced because of the fact Gabriel, it's really hard for him to hit it, but if you're playing against someone who only plays Gabriel, just pray. That's all you can do to win. Because he's gonna kick your ass. Like, he is going to swatch the floor with you. But as strong as he is, he's still balanced, which is crazy. As for who we're going to get to, the top two faces in the game, in my opinion, I believe you do need nerfs. I do think these two are insanely strong, but they both fit the same archetype. Starting off in second place with the best face in the game, the second best face in the game, we have the right hand Reala. Again, like V1 wasn't complete without Gabriel, Nyte is not complete without Reala. Reala is, my god, wow. First time playing Reala was, like, instantly everyone put Reala in S tier because, like, my god, holy shit, Reala is strong. Like, I mean, no weaknesses besides just not knowing how to play him. Your only weakness is your inexperience with him. The more you have experience with Reala, the more you realize how just impossible he is to face. Like, his entire thing is he has his drill dash, which sure, he has to manage it. He has to manage, his drill dash meter and all that crap. But it builds up so regularly. He gets it back from, hitting M1s and all that shit. Like, he just gets it back regardless, passively, by doing nothing. And not to mention, the drill dash, he moves at 15% max speed. He goes 50% faster, or 15%, not 50. He goes 15% faster while using drill dash, so he just soars forwards. Sure, his turning is hard to hit. It's hard to hit his turning and all that. But if you hit a participant, hitting them with the drill dash, I mean, it's basically just like a very free M1. The only downside is just the fact that it's like, yeah, it takes a while, but it's like, you hit them, you stop, they lose a health state, and then you just start drill dashing again the second, like the last drill dash-ins, you just start it again, and then they can't get away fast enough, and bam. Like, you just hit them, and they're down again. And if that wasn't strong enough, if you wanted even something stronger, there's Paraloop, which is like, yeah, it takes up more of your meter. Like, it takes like a huge chunk of your meter, so if you miss it, then, yeah, you lose out on, like, all your dash power. But, like, my god, like, just the fact it passively regains, like, regardless, and you can just instant down people, just glide and instant down them, is my god, it is, like, the mobility on Reala is insane. And the fact he can just pull an insta-down out of his ass whenever he feels like it is crazy to me. He just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. He just destroys. And no one, like, there's just nothing you can barely do. Like, yeah, you can drop pallets. You can drop pallets, but he'll destroy it when he hits them. You can hide behind walls, but okay, he hits it. He can just M1 you. Like, there's just, it feels like at times there is just nothing you can do. And I feel like the skills floor for Reala is so much lower than Gabriel's. It's like Reala and Gabriel are in the same boat, whereas the difference is Reala has a lower skill floor, meaning it's so much easier for someone to get good at Reala. And also, all of Reala's abilities are really good compared to Gabriel, who has, like, a really strong, like, ability, and his other part of his kit's kind of, like, like, meh at best. Or, like, only, like, good at best, maybe, but, like, yeah, no, Reala is just, oh my god, like, Jesus Christ, dude, Reala is crazy. And, of course, who would have saw this coming? As of the current patch, best killer in the game is the executable X. X is the best killer in the game, the best face in the game. Who would have saw this coming? I don't know. Probably everyone. Wow. But yeah, no, X is just really good. X is actually insane. I mean, Reala, at the very least, has to manage his dash power. Imagine Reala if he didn't have to manage his dash power. That's just what X is. Like, you want to zoom across the map? Just spin dash. You want to hit a participant? Spin dash. You want to go punish this participant for dropping a pallet? Spin dash and then jump. You want to damage a generator? Just jump. Want to go up to a ledge because the participant thinks you can't get there? Just jump. Like, that's all it is. That's all X's gameplay is you have an answer for everything and participants can't do shit. The only downside for X is the fact that he has to sit there and charge up his spin dash and it's loud and they'll heal you coming. But if you know that they're there and you let go of that max charge spin dash, not only are you zooming, they're just screwed. You can just pinball around like it's no one's business. Like, you just, my god, it is actually insane. I think even then, the only downside I have for X as, like, a personal reason why, like, I think is, like, a bad thing for him is literally just whenever you spin dash, you go from first to third person, so you're constantly having to adjust to different perspective, like, consistently. But other than that, it's just like, man, you just, wow. Like, I don't play X, and the only reason I don't is because I honestly feel bad. Like, I feel bad for playing him. It doesn't help that it's X, it's Sonic.exe. Guess what? People are gonna play him. So he's also really popular, which does not help because, my god, I mean, there's little to nothing you can do against X. I mean, it's like Chris's web dash, like web trap, doesn't do anything. 6 doesn't do anything. You just signal transmitter's just, you know, casualty at that point. Neoibiea, easy to dodge. Lampy, easy to dodge and or hit. Mr. Casa, easy to dodge. Fucking, like, your only downside as X is, like, Ball, if he's good at looping and looping X specifically. V1, if he can shoot you, and, like, maybe Undyne. But even then, Undyne has to be, like, cracked out of her fucking mind with her blocks in order to do shit against X. Like, it's just, my god. Yeah, it's, yeah. Good luck. But yeah, that is my tier list for Face Your Fear for both participants and faces. I know this is a bit of a long video, but I hope you guys are all enjoying the game like I am. So peace, love, hugs, all that stuff. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video if you like that much. As always, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys!